Welcome to our supplier page interview with Misys, a major player in the business who are empowering the corporates with their range of services. Misys have been well known as one of the leaders in confirmation matching systems for corporates for many years and are now extending their services. Neil, where are you going with this?
Yeah, thanks, Jack. I mean, just to touch on the confirmation matching side, you know, we developed that service back in the mid-90s, a long time ago, as something originally called FX Match when we was part of Citigroup. You know, that has really developed over time, and you know, since 2003 has been part of Misys. The intention always was to provide the buyer side and specifically the corporates with a single window to all of their banks. In the case of CMS, for the purpose of post-trade confirmation matching for FX and for other asset classes. Now, as well as providing that service, one thing that's always been key to us, and we've actually been doing for pretty much 15 years now, is providing that service as what is now known as software as a service, as SaaS. So it's always been delivered as a single instance multi-tenant service. And once you start delivering software in that fashion, it becomes much more scalable and much easier to add other services on top of that. So what we tried to do over time in terms of adding those new services, a few years back, we added a SwiftNet service bureau to that, which was building on the, shall I say, the weapons grade connectivity that we had with Swift in order to handle our confirmation matching volume. And then in 2014, we also added the regulatory reporting service as well at the request of our customers for EMEA trade reporting. I think you put the diagram up there, Jack, and I think that sort of explains where we were up to at that point and now where we're looking to head in the future.
What's the role of the Swift Service Bureau? Because you mentioned that it's got a approval by Swift. What does that mean? What does that give you?
Yeah, it's, when we originally made our service bureau available, effectively kind of exposing our SwiftNet infrastructure to be able to host other people's bit codes. So it could be corporates, could be fund managers, effectively anyone that wants to outsource their Swift connectivity. When we originally put that in place, at that time there were a lot of service bureau out there, and it was almost becoming somewhat of a commodity, to be honest with you, the actual pure connectivity itself. To take a step on from there, we, around a year ago, we achieved our premier operating practice, our POP accreditation with Swift. This was Swift's way of, kind of distinguishing between the best, if you will, of the service bureaus, which we achieved that status. And there are only a handful of service bureau out there that have that status. But when we put our service bureau in place, it was really only ever designed as a foundation, if you will, a connectivity foundation. What really sets service bureau apart is value-added services. That's now where we're really starting to look to add services to that bureau to make it more attractive with those value-added services to the corporate market.
And you've taken the two most obvious things first, the putting in a payment portal and a trade portal. How comprehensive are these? Are these, because there's some major competitors there?
They are, and really with our many hundreds, in excess of 700 corporate customers which use our confirmation matching service today. These are our customers that we are listening to. These are our customers that are asking us for more services and to be able to deliver more via this sort of SaaS delivery method. And payments is something which has been coming up time and time again. Now, what we've done within Misys, if you like, the bigger Misys, much more well known for delivering its software solutions to the major banks around the world, Misys had already developed some very, very impressive technology around the payment side with their message manager, their payment manager, their cash portal. What we've done is build upon that as a foundation. taken those applications and those services, taken them into our data center, and we've made those services single instance multi-tenant that we can deliver via the internet as software as a service. And we're putting those applications out to our corporate clients so that they can take control and they can be in charge of their connectivity with their banks for the purposes of initiating payments. Now, what we've found from talking to these corporates customers is that they have a whole host of different systems which effectively are initiating payments. It could be treasury management systems, it could be ERP systems, accounts payable, accounts receivable, there can be manual payments. And what we find is there's a different payment method, a different connectivity to the bank for each of those systems and each of those methods. So what the payment portal is designed to do is to interface and integrate with each of those disparate systems. So we can do translations, we can do mappings, we can take all of those different data from all of those different systems, and we can compile those into SwiftMT format, ISO 20022 formats, and we can deliver that information to the banks. So there's a single, consistent method of getting the data and the payment instructions to the banks for the corporate customer.
Is this payment portal live now?
It's not live right now. This is, well, it is live in terms of the way it is used by banks today that Misys provides those systems to. It's used by thousands and thousands of corporates many times over, where these banks that use that Misys technology use those systems to provide for their corporates. In terms of providing it as direct connectivity to the corporates, this is something we are currently rolling out right now. We expect to be live and in production by December. So just 2 months' time, we have customers signed up to the service already and are raring to go. So those implementations will be starting very, very shortly.
This is a new discipline, though, connecting the back end of payment systems, because in banks it's rather different.
Correct. It is very different. But I think with the corporate world, I mentioned some of those different types of systems, TMSs, ERPs, etc. What we also find there is many corporates have been through lots of M&A activity where they find themselves with legacy systems which are still producing some payment files and have some payment requirements. And there just isn't a single point where all of these systems are pointing towards. And as I mentioned, the technology is already there, it's already proven, and is already in use thousands of times over around the world. So it's us taking that technology and making it available directly to the corporate, as opposed to just giving it to the banks to provide to their corporates on a single bank basis. So it's proven technology that we know that works. And I think this really does empower the corporates to sort of have that interaction with their banks in a consistent way.
And the Misys Trade Portal, is that similarly coming a few months later?
Yeah, right now we expect the Trade Portal to follow fairly quickly after the Payment Portal. All of these new services are being put under a new product umbrella, if you will, a Fusion Corporate, which is consistent with the Misys branding and where the company is heading towards. So under the new Fusion Corporate banner, as I said, we have the confirmation service, we have the regulatory reporting service, the service bureau, the payment portal we just talked about, and then what will come is the trade portal, as you said.
In essence, you're trying to provide the full solution for between corporates and banks.
Yeah, I mean, the trade portal specifically is lots of synergies with the payment portal in as much that this is proven technology. Misys is very much a world leader in trade finance products, and with its trade portal service, it already provides that, like the payment portal, to many banks around the world for provision to their corporate customers. Again, we are now providing this as a software as a service delivered product directly to the corporates, so that they can initiate letters of credit and guarantees, etc., within this portal. This can either be done manually by the corporate client, or we can take a file upload from ERP systems or any other system that the corporate uses for its trade finance activity. And we can then take that data, we can formulate that using our Swift Service Bureau. We can connect to the banks via MT798 messaging, which is two-way messaging backwards and forwards, which the banks can understand. And effectively, we're doing the same, the same philosophy going right away back to our confirmation system, if you like. We're providing the single window for the corporate to all of their banks, not just for confirmation matching, not just for regulatory reporting, but now for payments and for trade finance as well.
What proportion, looking forward and being very greedy, what proportion of corporates do you think will buy the whole solution from Misys, the whole Fusion corporate product set?
As many as possible, with my greedy head on.
Yes, of course.
But it's difficult to know, and I think in many ways, from the banking perspective, some of this stuff has been around for a long, long time. But some of this stuff is kind of new in the corporate space. I mean, certainly around the trade finance, the letters and credits and guarantees are not new. But as we move into the new kind of BPO world and additional trade finance asset classes, a corporate being able to initiate that electronically and consistently across all of its banks is kind of a new world for many of these to sort of break into. So, we have the luxury of having many, many hundreds of corporate clients that we have relationships with. In the most part, what we are delivering and what we are layering on top of these services are at the request of our customers. So I see a good uptake of all of these services from a good percentage of our customers, but they don't have to be sold collectively. They're not interdependent on each other. The way we've delivered these services, if someone wants just the CMS service, just the payment portal, just the trade finance portal, that's fine. We can deliver that individually, and they are all complementary to a corporate's existing services and can sit alongside and integrate with those services.
Thanks, Neil. Future looks bright for Misys in the corporate world.